Hey YouTube, my name is Nick James and I'm going to be teaching you how to play guitar. This is a new series called Your Guitar Questions Answered, and I just got a comment that was probably better answered in a follow-up video than in a long-winded typed out response that probably won't make any sense. So thanks Nayan for the question. I'm hoping I'm pronouncing that right. But the question was, how do you play over chord scales when you're soloing, when using those triads without sounding not musical? And I guess my short answer to that is when you're soloing and playing the chord changes, your goal isn't to only play those three notes. The reason I suggest learning triads is because those notes are going to be your target notes when you're playing over that chord. So if you had a 1-4-5 chord progression in G major, G, C, D, when I play over the 1 chord, I'm sliding into that B because it's the major third of G major, and then I'm maybe going to the 5. But that's not the only, note I want to play. Maybe I want to target the E note, which is the 6th. And then when I go to C, I want to do the same thing. Slide into that E note for this chord because the E is the major third of C major. And now I'm playing G again because G is the 5th in C. It comes right out of my triad. And you can see I'm, using this A note again, which is the 6th note in C. And it's not necessarily part of the triad, but it's a part of the scale. And when I'm soloing, I'm, trying to be musical with it, but when you're first starting to learn this, playing over the chord changes concept, it's incredibly hard stuff. So this is something the pros constantly work on, and what really separates them from, an average or intermediate guitarist. So it's really a hard concept and not something that's, mastered in a day or a week. But to answer your question, when you go about, learning to solo over the chord changes, don't only play the 3 notes in the triad. Try to add in these other colors, but you're not going to want to spend a lot of time on, let's say, like playing over G. I'm not going to want to spend a lot of time on C because it just doesn't sound great. But, by using the 4th note, that's C, I can still play it, but it's just not a note I want to target really often in playing over G. Now when I start to change chords to C, absolutely, that's the 1 now. It's going to sound really good to play C over C. Same with E and same with G because they're a part of the triad. But doesn't mean you shouldn't play A. And when I get down to D, I have an F sharp in D, which is D's major third. I might want to slide into that. So, playing that major third is going to help me outline that I'm playing in D. And that is right out of my triad. So, you know, it's not like the only notes I can play are F sharp, D, and A, but they are notes that you're going to want to target. So the purpose of, you know, using triads to help play over the chord change is just to give you an idea of the target notes that you should probably play more often than the others. And, you know, how I would go about learning this stuff is take a lick in, you know, a certain chord shape, like the E-shaped G chord, and play that same lick in the E-shaped C chord, and then all the way up at the 5. So you can and that'll at least help you start to see where these, you know, triads fit in, and then eventually work that into playing over each chord in the same hand position. So hopefully that helps. We'll probably make a whole nother video on this topic because there's just a lot to get into about it. But the whole purpose of, you know, playing over the chord changes isn't just to only play that chord and its triads, but rather target the notes that make that chord, and use the other notes to help as like additional colors. Hopefully that helps, and stay tuned for more.